Today we're going to continue working on the card. So we'll just kind of work on the metal part. We'll start with this part here, right here. I'm using a round brush, and I also have a flat or bright small brush. And I have here the following colors, acrylic colors. This is Payne's Gray, Raw Umber, and White. And I think it should be enough. We'll see how it goes, but I'm sure it's going to be enough. So let's start with the upper part of the card. All right, we're going to take just raw umber for now. Just take a bit of raw umber on your brush. See where the glass part is? See that we see some of the front of the card right there, faint. And then we see a reflection of the light on the glass. You see that you have a sharper, harsher, dark color on the right, on the all around. So what we can do is paint all of this part from here all the way down here in the same brown color, and then glaze over it the glass part. And we can try by using just burnt umber. And let's do this. Let's try and see how it goes. I'm just gonna paint this part.
Is it burnt umber or raw
I'm sorry, raw umber, raw umber, raw umber. Did I say burnt umber? Mm-hmm. No, it's raw umber. So I'm going to do this. Okay, imagine that there is no glass, and we're going to remove the glass part and just kind of give this section okay. And also at this point I'm going to take a little bit of the Payne's Gray, and I'm going to paint the mirror in Payne's Gray and raw umber. And the steering wheel. Okay, and I'm going to stop here so you can do that. I'll come back and paint the dark part inside here as well, and then we'll switch to the metal part. Okay, I'm going to pause. All right, now let's work on this part. Wherever we see dark color, I'm going to use just nothing else but raw umber. And let's go in for now. Okay, just raw umber for now. That will allow me to see, put in the dark parts. It becomes easier to see the shape. All right, good. All right. All right, and the bottom part of this part here, right here. Then when I come and put the metal part, I have a good idea where it should go. Okay. We might have to later on put a bit more of maybe even now, just pick up with your brush some Payne's Gray and raw umber and paint this part. This is really dark. There's like a deep dark color in here. And also here. Okay, good. I'm gonna pause. Okay, now let's paint the glass part, and first, before we do the glass part, let's paint the metal part. So for that, I'm just going to take Payne's Gray and white, and you see this Payne's Gray and white is really kind of light. So if we want to tone it down and make it more earthy, not earthy, but tone it down a bit, we can take just raw umber, put it in it, and that will tone it down. There, perfect. That's warmer. Okay, let's do this first and see if we need to darken. You know, when I'm mixing paint, I'm always thinking it's going to dry darker than what I'm seeing. So let's take a bit more. Okay, good. All right, let's do that and see how it goes. It's like a metal part, but it has a bit of blue in there. Touch of blue. All the way. I need to make it larger, just because, a little bit larger, just because I am going to put a dark line between the top, the hood of the car, and the glass part. I'm going to put a line in there, a dark line. Okay, now I'm going to clean my brush and clean this here. Remove the paint, because I went out too much. Okay, perfect. Okay. Now, the bottom part, again, you know, you want your paint to be a bit wet so the brush slides easily on the canvas and it doesn't blob. I mean, it's going to blob, but minimum blobbing. Ooh, the card's looking much better with this. Good. And another one right here on the side. Now the one on the side, I'm going to darken a little bit because it's going to be, it's not exposed to the light. And to darken it, I'm just pulling in raw umber into the mixture of white and Payne's gray. And that will give me a kind of a subdued, there's nothing on this side, it's only on that. Now, let's take some raw umber, only raw umber, nothing else. Just raw umber. And come here and add a dark line. Again, another dark line right here. We're not going to see it much, this dark line, but we will see it after when we add the highlight on the glass part. Darken this. Now the same thing is going to apply to this part. Let's take a bit of this raw umber mixed with a bit of the other, you know, Payne's gray and white right here, and make it into a kind of a glaze, and paint this part. Because this part where the the metal and the glass, the shape is in. This is the highest part that catches light, the one in the center, and then it goes in. Once it goes in, the metal will look darker. Now I'm gonna give this shape a bit of an adjustment here. Okay. All right. Same thing on this part here. It goes in, but it's darker. That's why we don't see it. All right. What we can do before we continue is add a bit of more white to the Payne's gray and white, to the gray part. A little bit more white. I think we should do that. And also some raw umber. but highlight more. Okay, so it's a warm kind of metal. And adjust the highlight. Perfect. And at the bottom too, right here. Okay, perfect, good. Now, next step is putting the glass part, glazing the glass part, and I'll give you time so we can glaze it together at the same time. I'm going to pause. Now, for the glass part, I'm going to make my glass color a little bit darker than what I had before for the mixture of the metal part, stainless steel part, whatever it is. I don't know what it is, what they use for that. So I'm going to do the same. I'm going to mix white and Payne's gray. And even if it turns out to be a kind of darker than what we see in the reference, that's okay. And I'm going to take a little bit of the raw umber. Don't take too much, just a little bit. Okay, because we want to make sure that this glass part doesn't come forward too much, okay? And the most important part is the glaze part. So I'm going to put a bit of more water in there. And you see how I'm mixing my brush, my paint? I'm going to take off a bit, and then I'm going to try and see. I'm going to take this shape. I'm going to follow the shape I see. More water. Okay. I think because my brush has a lot of paint in it. Okay, I cleaned it up. I'm going to pick up now clean, just paint that has water in it. So it's transparent. All right, let's see. I think it's transparent, but it's not showing. Transparency is not showing here. Okay, more water. See how I can tell, because it's harsh. It's kind of not transparent enough. Then that means I need to add more water in here. Okay, that's better. So let's take the kind of the shape. It will dry darker, and I'll explain why it will dry darker. It's just because it's transparent, and the color behind it will take over. So we will see more of the background once the paint is dry. Now, the thing is, the only challenge is you cannot go over it too many times. You will lift the color if you do. So if I want to go over it one more time, I have to use the brush more like a kind of like more of a feather kind of pressure. Don't push too hard. I'm going to take a little bit more of the raw umber in the same mixture, and I'm going to do the same here, but darker. And I will adjust the raw umber that I removed in a minute. So let's let it, I'm gonna let it dry and see how it goes. If I find that it's it's not transparent enough, then I can add the red behind and the steering wheel and the whatever, I removed or I covered again. So let's keep it for now and see how it goes. Once it's dry, I can see that this part is better. This one is too thick. This one here, and this one, but this one is not bad. This is better on this side. So let's say this happens and I need to adjust it. All I have to do is get the color of the red. Take a bit of raw umber. To make the red darker. And add white. And make a glaze out of it as well, as much as I can. So I'm gonna, this is kind of almost dry, so it is a bit heavy. So I'm making a glaze of the red and just putting that glaze back on this color. So it has white in it. It's red, but it has white in it. And also the same for the dark part right here. Oh. Again, same idea, some glazing in here, darker. And I got back what I lost before. Now I'm going to take again some dark, just a combination of both raw umber and Payne's gray, and put the steering wheel on again. And the rear view mirror. Rear view, right? Yeah. And there we go. All right, there we go. We're good. I don't think I might put another layer of glazing for this part here. My God, I find glazing is the hardest part. Anytime I glaze, I find it very hard because you have to kind of gauge the thickness of the paint. Okay. Oh, rear view mirror is still there. I didn't lose it. I'm gonna put a bit of this glaze up here around the red part and right here. And the steering wheel is still there. Right, okay, I'm not gonna touch this anymore. It's good enough. All right, I'm gonna pause. Okay, so now let's go. We're good with this part. We don't need to do more than that. Now let's do the part where we have the lights. It's the same thing. I'm gonna take same colors. I'm gonna take, but a little bit more subdued. White and Payne's gray. And then we're going to take burnt umber, put it in, and this way we have a good. All right, let's clean the brush. Come here, and I'm going to paint what I'm seeing. I'll paint what I see. This way it's easier. Okay, this part you see a little bit of that metal thing, and I can go back and adjust. So now you see it's very strong, but I can go back and adjust the values and the dark and light in there. So that's for now. Let's do this for now. Put the actual rim around the lights. And because my paint, the paint on my brush is not very thick. It is a thin kind of, thin meaning I have kind of a bit more water. So it doesn't blob. And when it dries darker. So now I can see here that this part and this part are a bit too strong, and also the same thing on these two. I can tone them down after with raw umber. Okay. Let's now continue with the small kind of round ones. They are kind of round. They're not really round, but making a mess here. All right, let's clean this and any kind of adjustment I can do right now. So I can take just raw umber push a bit, make those lines thinner by adding more of the dark inside. And it doesn't have to look perfect. This is good enough. I am what I'm trying to do is tone it down with a bit of raw umber. Let's take some raw umber and Payne's gray and adjust underneath this one. There. And underneath this one too. Push it up. Now, I'm going to take raw umber and make it into kind of a glaze. Glaze this part. Upper part usually is lighter, it catches more light. Upper part right here, right there. And lower part is kind of subdued, kind of small, not bright, not too bright. Okay, perfect. This is kind of a hint of what I'm seeing. Now, I'm going to take again same colors I had before. I used before, gray, Payne's gray, white, and raw umber. Clean my brush again and just highlight this part a bit and highlight this part. Okay. Now I'm going to take again this mixture of Payne's gray and raw umber and just kind of go underneath this right there. You can see it in the reference. That's all I'm doing, and like nothing that you cannot see in the reference. And I'm going to do the same kind of on this part here. Kind of. Here we go. Let's skip this shadow. And this part too. A bit of shadow here. Strong shadow underneath this. With just kind of a glaze of, even if just raw umber. And again, same underneath this part and this part a bit. It just gives it kind of an interesting and more realistic look when you have shadows and lights. I'm going to pause and then we'll come back and start working on this part here, bottom part. Okay, now let's start working on this lower part of the card. Now this lower part has quite a bit of brown in there, and we could just use for now raw umber and white. And again, we're going to use this raw umber and white in more like a glaze, not very glaze, transparent, but kind of like let the color, the paint flow easily on the brush. And we're going to paint this part.
Just raw umber and white.
Raw umber and white. And we're going to take it down like this. Again, on the other side, just going to paint this part. Both parts. And then once it goes in, it's going to be darker. Okay, so I'm not going to paint this. I'm going to have to darken this part a bit. at the bottom. For now, this is good. Let's do the upper part right here, same, because this part of the metal is catching more light. It's higher. And also the same, I'm going to paint here. Let's go all the way. And here too. Okay. This is good. So we have the base color. What I'm going to do right now is take just raw umber, no Payne's gray, and I'm going to soften this color right here. It's really kind of very, very dark with the mixture of Payne's gray and raw umber. So I'm using just raw umber, nothing else. And I'm going to do again raw umber down here, darken this. Raw umber down here. This is good. Let's take some, again, just raw umber. And give a dark shadow on this side. I'm gonna let this dry and put one more layer of raw umber down here. Again, same, go back to this kind of white and raw umber, but add more raw umber to it. So we're going to darken a bit this value and paint this part, the darker value. And you'll see in a minute. Right now it doesn't make sense, but once we start highlighting, you will see the difference. All right, so now we're just kind of cleaning up, and all of in here, inside this, I can put license plate. Okay. Now I'm going to take white and I'm going to add white to the raw umber. No No Payne's gray yet. And I'm going to give this part strong highlight. This is just to show me where the light metal is before I start adding more highlights. Right there. This is good. So I'm getting kind of an idea how the structure by, the structure of this metal part by adding the highlights on. Now, a little bit of kind of a, let's add a mid-tone. This is really a good exercise in values. A little bit of a mid-tone right here, down here. Not too light. All of these are going to be adjusted slowly. All of this kind of highlights I'm putting. I got a bit of kind of clean. I need to clean up this part because my brush was not, or the paint was not fluid enough, so it kind of blobbed a bit. All right. Okay, let's add a bit of white again. Now I'm highlighting a little bit more, not a bit, quite a bit more, in the same mixture. And at this point, I'm going to add a bit of Payne's gray and white, whatever I had here before, into the raw umber and white. And I'm going to come here and start highlighting a little bit more, kind of, sharp, strong highlight. Mid-tone again, and then let's give this kind of a bit of a interesting more white into the mixture. And I'm just going to give this stronger highlight. That gives kind of the look of metal that is that has a lot of light on it. And also I'm going to do the same here. Let's do it here too. And let's go back to this one as well. Give this one a sharp highlight. Strong. I like to highlight slowly because I can gauge at that point how much highlight I need and where to go light and where to go dark. If I start with strong highlight, then I can't gauge the values. So slowly, when I work slowly on the highlights and the values, I can gauge what I need to do next. Okay, let's do that. And the bottom part right here goes lower a bit. And the only reason sometimes I do these things, I go like I follow what I'm seeing, is just because it makes more sense and it looks nicer, better. All right, let's do the other side. Okay, let's do this side. Highlights are kind of hard to do. They're not easy, especially on metal. Okay, mid-tone. I'm gonna go with mid-tone, like I did here, a little bit from mid-tone color. And then I'm gonna take white, more white, put it in the mixture. So I'm making the mixture lighter, and I'm gonna come here, put some water. I'm much more comfortable putting water in there than having a strong color. Okay, I'm gonna go just follow what I'm seeing, follow what I'm seeing. I'm gonna leave it, and I'm not going to, not yet. I'm just going to leave it for now, and I'll let it dry, and then what I'll do is I'll tone it down. Actually, I can tone it down right now. Adjust again. soft highlights in here inside this white that I put in there, and then I'm going to darken this part. All right, it's really not an important detail as long as we can tell it's kind of bumper and it has metal on it, and the metal is light, or it has reflection on it. So I'm highlighting a little bit now, adjusting the highlights and adjusting the highlight here and here, just to give it that metal look. I'm highlighting a little bit with lots of white and lots of white and a touch of the raw umber and white that I have here, but more white. And I'm going to do the same here. I'm going to put more white. I can see two little screws on both sides. I'm not going to put them. There's no need for that. It's good enough. So what we need to do next time is put the name here, handle, and the license plate. And we should be okay. So maybe what we should do is kind of glaze this part here so we push the car out, or maybe not. We'll see how it goes. Yeah, for today, that's good enough. And next week we will finish everything and go through all of the details that need to be adjusted. Like, see here, this is kind of a lost detail, which is fine. I mean, it doesn't have to be adjusted.
That's kind of bothering me.
Yeah,
I'm not seeing anyway.
Right. So this part is just because the background and the foreground are the same value.
Yeah. Okay.
So they're mixing. So in order to see this, see this part more distinctly, the front part, what we need to do is darken the background a bit. Then this part, the foreground will pop. So that's why next week we will spend some time adjusting even here, even around here, this part, it's lost. And it's making the background and the foreground on the same level. So what we need to do is push the background back by darkening the part of the background where it meets the car, part of the car. So no, this one is fine because we put blue instead of red. So it's fine. But this part here, we will adjust it. We'll adjust that. And yeah, we'll see if we need to adjust anything else. But I think we're good. All right, we're good for this week. We did a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to pause. Right, so we're done for this week. Next week we'll continue working on some of the details, and we'll do some adjustments.